The gravy spoon slips from my fingers, clattering against the ceramic floor of my parents' beach house kitchen. Warm brown liquid splatters across my apron like a Rorschach test of my family's indifference. In the dining room, just 15 feet and a lifetime away, glasses clink amid a chorus of laughter. They started without me. I stand frozen, listening to the cheerful din washing over the polished marble countertops. Mom promised we'd all sit down together once everything was ready. That was before Adrian's Tesla pulled into the driveway 2 hours ago, his designer luggage and winning smile instantly becoming the center of my parents' universe. To Adrian, my father's voice booms from the dining room, for bringing this family together on Thanksgiving. The knife edge of those words slices through me. I've been here since Tuesday, chopping, seasoning, and basting, while Adrian rolled in just before dinner, empty-handed except for a bottle of wine someone probably gave him. I bend down to clean the spilled gravy, my knees cracking against the hard tile. From this angle, I can see them through the doorway, Mom straightening Adrian's collar, Dad pouring him more wine, Aunt Sarah leaning in to hear his latest success story. Not one of them notices my absence. 3 weeks ago, Mom started the family group text with her usual holiday enthusiasm. Thanksgiving planning. We'll cook whatever Adrian likes this year since he's been so busy with his new position. I had suggested trying something different. Maybe we could go to that new restaurant on the bay? Give everyone a break from cooking? Mom's response came swiftly. Traditions matter, dear. Besides, you're so good in the kitchen. Translation. You're so useful in the kitchen. I grab a fresh dish towel, wiping gravy from my hands. My fingers have finally stopped trembling. Something shifts inside me, like tectonic plates grinding against each other before an earthquake. I pick up the gravy boat, filled to the brim with the rich brown liquid I've spent hours perfecting. The silver serving piece belonged to my grandmother, who probably stood in kitchens just like this one, serving men who never had to wonder if their contributions would be acknowledged. Walking to the dining room, I place the gravy boat firmly on the table. The heavy silver base makes a satisfying thunk against the crisp white tablecloth. 5 pairs of eyes look up briefly before returning to Adrian, who's midway through a story about his golf game with a potential client. Honey, Mom says without looking at me, could you grab some more ice for Adrian's drink? The request hangs in the air between us. I've spent 2 days cooking, while Adrian hasn't lifted a finger. The words rise to my lips before I can swallow them back. No. The single syllable lands like a stone thrown through glass. The conversation stops. Adrian's mouth hangs open mid-sentence. Mom blinks rapidly, her social smile faltering. I'm sorry? I said no. My voice sounds different, steadier than I feel. Dad's face darkens as he sets down his fork. Your brother drove all the way from Tampa. 2 hours, I say. He drove 2 hours. I've been cooking for 2 days. The silence stretches between us, filled with the unspoken rules I've just broken. My heart hammers against my ribs. This tiny rebellion might cost me the security of being part of this family, the conditional love I've spent 35 years trying to earn. Mom laughs nervously, smoothing her napkin. Marin's just tired from cooking all day. She turns to Adrian. The turkey is exceptional this year, don't you think? And just like that, the moment passes. The conversation flows around me like I'm a rock in a stream. Adrian resumes his story with barely a pause. But something has changed. For the first time, I've pushed back against the current, instead of letting it sweep me along. My no still echoes in my ears as I take my seat at the table, not rushing back to the kitchen, not fetching ice, not disappearing into the background of my own life. I reach for the wine and pour myself a full glass. When I look up, Aunt Rachel catches my eye from across the table and gives me the slightest nod. I take a long sip and feel the warmth spread through my chest. This Thanksgiving just became something entirely different. The half-eaten turkey sits abandoned on the dining table as I escape to the kitchen, my legs carrying me away from the laughter that doesn't include me. I need a moment to breathe, to process what just happened. My small rebellion, that simple no, still thrums through my veins like electricity. Mom's iPad sits open on the granite countertop, her Facebook page glowing with notifications. I shouldn't look. I've never been the snooping type. But something pulls me forward, my fingers hovering over the screen before I tap her profile. The most recent post stops my breath cold. Excited for Adrian's special Thanksgiving menu. Can't wait to taste what my talented son suggested for our family gathering. My talented son. Not a word about who actually shopped for ingredients, prepped for 2 days, or woke at 5 this morning to put the turkey in the oven. I scroll down. Photo after photo from birthdays, Easter, last Christmas, dozens of images of Adrian smiling with mom and dad. In some, I spot my elbow or the back of my head as I carry dishes to the table or clean up in the background. Not one photo features me front and center. Not one. The kitchen suddenly feels too small. The walls pressing in as 35 years of being overlooked crystallize into undeniable evidence. I've always suspected I was less important, but seeing it documented so thoroughly makes my stomach clench. Marin, where's the pumpkin pie? Mom calls from the dining room. I close the iPad and grab the pies from the counter, sliding them onto serving plates with trembling hands. When I return to the dining room, everyone remains seated comfortably, Adrian at Dad's right hand, Mom beaming beside him, Aunt Sarah leaning in to catch every word. "Just set them on the sideboard, honey," Mom says without looking up. "You can serve from there." I place the pies down and stand awkwardly, knife in hand, as the conversation flows around me. "Adrian, tell them about your new place," Mom prompts, touching his arm. He leans back, stretching his designer shirt across his shoulders. "Just closed last week. Perfect little beach house in Siesta Key. We should all go down for a visit," Dad says, his voice warm with pride. "Like our Key West trip last spring." The knife nearly slips from my fingers. "What Key West trip?" A moment of awkward silence falls before Mom laughs lightly. "Oh, it was just a quick weekend getaway. You were so busy with work." "I was never invited," I say, the words falling like stones. Adrian shifts uncomfortably, but Aunt Sarah jumps in. "Speaking of family gatherings, I wanted to tell you, Adrian. I've decided you should have Grandma's china cabinet. It would look perfect in your new dining room. The cabinet I've admired since childhood. The one I'd hoped would someday hold my own collection of depression glass." "Thanks, Aunt Sarah," Adrian says, not meeting my eyes. "That's really generous." "Well, we want to make sure these things stay in the family," she replies. "As if I'm not family." "Adrian needs it more than you do anyway, Marin," Dad adds, "especially with how much he's stretched himself with the new house. Your mother and I helped with the down payment, but mortgage rates are brutal these days." The pieces click together with sickening clarity. The same parents who called me financially irresponsible when I bought my modest Orlando condo 3 years ago with no help from them had handed Adrian a down payment for a beach house. "More pie, anyone?" I ask, my voice hollow as I mechanically cut and serve, standing while they remain seated. The conversation shifts to Adrian's promotion, his golf game, his new boat. With each passing minute, the truth sinks deeper into my bones. My only value to this family is what I provide in service, the meals I cook, the dishes I wash. The holidays I organize while they enjoy themselves. If I stopped serving, would I cease to exist in their eyes completely? Would anyone like coffee? I ask, already moving toward the kitchen. "That would be lovely, dear," Mom says, finally glancing my way. "And could you bring more napkins?" Adrian spilled a little gravy. I nod, turning away before they can see the tears threatening to spill. As I pass Aunt Rachel, Mom's younger sister who arrived late, she reaches under the table and squeezes my hand. Her eyes meet mine with quiet understanding. "I see you," she whispers, low enough that only I can hear. That tiny moment of recognition nearly breaks me. As I stand in the kitchen waiting for the coffee to brew, I watch through the doorway as my family enjoys the meal I spent days preparing. The question rises unbidden in my mind. Should I maintain peace by accepting my role, or risk everything by demanding the respect I deserved? What would you do when the family you love doesn't seem to value you in return? The coffee pot hisses, bringing me back to the present. I arrange the cups on a tray, straighten my shoulders, and prepare to serve my family once more. But something has changed. A seed of resistance has been planted, and I can feel it taking root. My phone chimes with the familiar group text alert. I hesitate before opening it, remembering how the Thanksgiving aftermath left a persistent knot in my stomach. 3 weeks of blessed silence shattered in an instant. "Exciting news," Mom's text reads. "Adrian is hosting Christmas at his new beach house. Everyone's so thrilled." I stare at the screen, waiting for the inevitable follow-up. It arrives exactly 30 seconds later. "Marin, I've made a list of your dishes. The usual stuffing everyone loves, your cranberry relish, those little appetizers with the puff pastry, and maybe your chocolate pecan pie. Adrian mentioned how much he misses your cooking." Before I can respond, another message pops up. And honey, could you come early to help set up? Maybe around 9? Adrian has an important client breakfast that morning. Think he was never buyed. My thumbs hover over the keyboard. The audacity is breathtaking. Not, would you mind making? Or, if you have time, but a direct assignment of labor. As if my time, my career, my life holds no value compared to Adrian's important client breakfast. I toss my phone onto the couch and walk to the kitchen. The headache that's been threatening all day pulses behind my right eye. Marin, did you update the Henderson pitch? My boss's voice cuts through the office buzz Monday morning. He stands at my cubicle entrance, arms crossed. I'm working on it now, I say, minimizing the Christmas shopping website I'd been scrolling through. I'll have it to you by 3. No. It was due Friday. His disappointment weighs heavier than anger would. The client meeting is tomorrow morning. This isn't like you. It isn't like me. I've always been the reliable one, the one who stays late, the one who makes everyone else look good. At work, at home, everywhere. That night, I barely sleep. My stomach churns with acid that burns up my throat. The clock reads 3:17 a.m. when I finally give up, padding to the bathroom for antacids. This is the 3rd night this week. As Christmas approaches, the insomnia worsens, my body rebelling against obligations my mind tries to accept. I pull a notebook from my nightstand drawer. Things I want. I write at the top. Then I stare at the empty page. What do I want? Has anyone ever asked me that question? Have I ever asked myself? The next morning, I arrive at work an hour early. I finish the Henderson pitch, then start on next week's projects. When my boss stops by to check on me, I say, I've completed everything due this week. I'm taking Friday off. Not asking, telling. He blinks, surprised by my directness. Sure, you've got the time. Everything okay? Just taking care of myself, I reply, the words feeling foreign in my mouth. Thursday afternoon, Jessica from accounting leans against my cubicle wall. A bunch of us are having a holiday thing Saturday night. No family drama allowed. Just friends, food, and questionable karaoke choices. You in? I don't know. I hesitate. I've got so much to do before Christmas at Adrian's. Come on, she nudges my shoulder. One night for yourself won't kill you. Something about her casual invitation cracks the tension I've been carrying. I burst into genuine laughter for the first time in weeks. Questionable karaoke, huh? That bad? Horrific, she grins. Dave from It does an interpretive dance to Total Eclipse of the Heart that will haunt your dreams. I find myself nodding. Okay, I'm in. The possibility of joy. Simple, uncomplicated joy, with people who expect nothing from me except my presence, feels like coming up for air after being underwater too long. Friday off, I spent the whole day away from the kitchen, outside, just by myself. Saturday, I was testing new recipes I found on the internet, prepared and went to hang out with friends from work. My phone rings Sunday evening. Mom's name lights up the screen. I consider letting it go to voicemail, but something inside me has shifted. Hi, Mom, I answer, keeping my voice neutral. Marin, I'm finalizing Christmas plans. Did you get my text about coming early to help Adrian set up? We're counting on you. He's so busy with his new promotion. I watch my knuckles turn white around the phone. The familiar script unfolds. Adrian's needs elevated, mine dismissed. The old Marin would apologize for the delay and promise to do better. The old Marin would already be planning which grocery stores had the best ingredients for all those assigned dishes. I'm busy too, I say quietly. I have my own life and career. The silence stretches so long I check to see if the call dropped. What's that supposed to mean? Mom finally asks, her voice tight with disapproval. It means exactly what I said. I have deadlines, responsibilities, and commitments of my own. I'm not just sitting around waiting to be useful to Adrian. This is Christmas, Marin. Family comes first. Does it? Because it seems like Adrian comes first, and I'm just expected to serve him. Mom gasps. That's not fair. He works so hard. So do I. The words burst from me with unexpected force. I work hard too, Mom. But no one in this family has ever acknowledged that. No one has ever asked what I need or want. It's always about making things perfect for Adrian. I don't understand where this is coming from, she says, her voice quavering. We've always been a close family. The truth lands in my chest with stunning clarity. I don't need their approval to be worthy. I never did. All these years of contorting myself to earn love that should have been freely given, what a waste. I'll think about Christmas, I say calmly. I'll let you know what I decide. I end the call before she can respond. The following week at work, something strange happens. Jessica stops by my desk with coffee. Thought you might need this, she says, placing it beside my keyboard. No expectations, just kindness. At lunch, my colleagues ask about my holiday plans. When I mention the uncertainty around family Christmas, Dave from IT immediately offers, "A bunch of us are having an orphan Christmas if you want to join." Potluck style, everyone brings something they actually enjoy making. The contrast staggers me. These people, some I barely know beyond professional courtesy, asking what I want rather than telling me what they expect me to give. Thanks, I say, standing a little straighter. I might take you up on that. That evening, I open my laptop and begin drafting an email to my family. The words flow with surprising ease. Dear Mom, Dad, and Adrian. I type. I've given a lot of thought to Christmas this year. I've decided not to attend the gathering at Adrian's beach house. I explain my feelings without accusation, simply stating facts. Years of unbalanced expectations, the toll on my health and career, my need to create boundaries that honor my worth. An hour later, my phone rings. Aunt Rachel's name appears on the screen. Your mother called me, she says without preamble. She's quite upset. My heart sinks. I'm sorry if she dragged you into this. Don't be, Aunt Rachel's voice softens. I wanted you to know that whatever you decide about Christmas, I support you. It's long overdue, Marin. Tears spring to my eyes at this unexpected alliance. Thank you, I whisper. After we hang up, I return to my laptop, yet my phone lights up again. Mom calling. I take a deep breath and decide. I take 3 deep breaths before answering, exactly as Jessica advised during our lunch yesterday. Hello, Mom. My voice comes out steady, a stark contrast to the nervous tremor that usually accompanies these calls. Marin, we need to discuss Christmas arrangements. She launches in without preamble. Adrian wants to know which dishes you're bringing. He's planning the table settings. I press my palm flat against the cool granite of my kitchen counter. I won't be coming to Adrian's for Christmas. The silence that follows stretches so long I check my screen to ensure we haven't disconnected. That's ridiculous. Her voice returns, higher pitched than before. Of course you're coming. Your brother has a brand new house to show everyone. I've made other plans. I maintain eye contact with my reflection in the microwave door, refusing to look away from myself. What other plans could possibly be more important than family? The familiar dismissive tone creeps in. My plans are important because they're mine. Each word comes out distinct, like stepping stones across a rushing stream. I've spent every holiday cooking, serving, and cleaning, while everyone else enjoys themselves, including Thanksgiving last month, when you all started eating without me. You're being overly sensitive. I cooked for 2 days straight. Dad toasted Adrian for bringing the family together while I was still in the kitchen. You promised we'd all sit down together. For the first time in our decades of conversations, Mother has no immediate retort. The silence carries weight. Well, she finally manages. I'm sorry if you felt unappreciated. I didn't feel unappreciated. I was unappreciated. The distinction matters. I'm making different choices this year. I'm making different choices this year. You'll break your father's heart. Her voice wavers with practiced fragility. He's been telling everyone how proud he is of his children. I almost laugh. When did Dad last tell me he was proud of me? He didn't even acknowledge my promotion last spring. That's not fair. She stops abruptly. He what? He's not good with words, she offers weakly. Not like Adrian. Adrian is good with words because you and Dad hang on every one of them. You've spent my entire life treating him like the star of the show while I work backstage. Her breathing changes. I suppose we've taken you for granted. The admission, however small, stuns me into momentary silence. My prepared arguments dissolve, as unexpected tears prick my eyes. What would it take to fix things? She asks. When Mom asked what it would take to fix things, I hesitated. Should I give them another chance to change patterns built over decades? Or was it time to prioritize my own well-being, even if it meant spending holidays apart? I hang up without answering, promising to think about it. Jessica arrives at my condo an hour later with takeout and her laptop. Operation Freedom. Christmas is underway, she announces, setting containers of pad thai on my coffee table. You're ridiculous, I say, but the knot in my chest loosens for the first time in days. Look at these options. She flips open her laptop, displaying a booking site. Key West has vacancies at that boutique hotel we've been eyeing. Christmas on the beach instead of Christmas in servitude. I stare at the images of turquoise waters and swaying palms. My family would never understand. That's kind of the point. Jessica scrolls through room options. Your happiness isn't contingent on their understanding. My phone buzzes with Aunt Rachel's name. Speaking of family, I murmur, answering the call. I heard you're skipping Adrian's Christmas extravaganza. Rachel's voice carries none of my mother's accusation. News travels fast. Your mother called in reinforcements. She wanted me to talk some sense into you. My stomach tightens. And? I told her I'm visiting you in Orlando instead. The smile in her voice is unmistakable. I've had enough of Adrian's show-off mansion and your parents fawning. If you'll have me, of course. Tears well up again, but different from before. Really? Really. We can start our own traditions. Ones where nobody spends the entire day in the kitchen while others take credit. After we hang up, I book the Key West reservation for the days after Rachel's visit. For the first time, the holidays stretch before me like an open road, rather than a predetermined path. My phone rings again that evening. Dad's name flashes on the screen. He hasn't called me directly in at least 3 years. Marin, he says when I answer, his voice uncharacteristically hesitant. Your mother mentioned you might not be joining us for Christmas. Before I can respond, a text from Adrian lights up my screen. Are you really not coming to my new place for Christmas? I've made other plans, I tell Dad, watching another text bubble appear from Adrian. I see. The uncertainty in his voice is new territory for both of us. Perhaps we could discuss this further. Your mother was hoping you might meet her for coffee next week. I consider the request, turning it over like a strange artifact from another time. I'll think about it. After we hang up, I read Adrian's second text. Mom's really upset. Can't you just come for one day? Standing in my quiet kitchen, I realize I'm smiling. Not from cruelty or vengeance, but from the strange weightlessness of finally being seen. They've noticed my absence. It's a start. Next week, Wednesday, the holiday music floating through Sunflower Cafe feels like an ironic soundtrack to the tension unfolding at our corner table. Mother sits across from me, her hands clasped around a mug of peppermint mocha she hasn't touched. Between us lies the worn leather photo album she brought, a tactical prop in her arsenal of manipulation. Your brother needs you, Marin, she says, flipping to a page with Adrian's kindergarten graduation photo. This isn't just about Christmas dinner. It's about family obligations. I watch her manicured finger trace the outline of Adrian's 5-year-old face, while completely skipping over my photo beside him. Even in reminiscing, I remain invisible. Adrian has important clients coming. He wants to impress them with a traditional family Christmas. Her voice drops to a confidential whisper. He specifically asked for your cranberry relish recipe. Not for me. For my recipe. You know your father and I won't be around forever. Her voice wavers with practiced emotion. Are you really willing to throw away your family over petty jealousy? The words land exactly as she intended, like a punch to the stomach. For a moment, I feel the familiar guilt rising in my throat. But then I notice her eyes darting to check if her performance is having the desired effect. I reach into my bag and pull out my own folder. I brought something too, I say, my voice steadier than I expected. I place 2 family photos side by side. The first shows last Easter's gathering, Adrian centrally positioned between our parents, while I'm barely visible at the edge, carrying a tray of deviled eggs. The second from Thanksgiving shows a similar composition, Adrian, raising a glass in toast while I stand in the background, refilling water glasses. 6 holidays in a row where I cooked every dish. I continue, sliding forward a handwritten list. 32 family gatherings where I arrived hours early to set up and stayed hours after to clean. 4 birthdays of mine that were rescheduled because they conflicted with Adrian's plans. Mother's face tightens. We appreciate everything you do. You appreciate everything I provide, I correct her. There's a difference. I tap the list with my index finger. When was the last time anyone took a photo of me enjoying a holiday meal? When did anyone offer to help me in the kitchen? When did my birthday get the same attention as Adrian's job promotion? She shifts uncomfortably, glancing around as if searching for witnesses to my rebellion. I'm not throwing away family, Mom. I say, my voice softening but not weakening. I'm refusing to be the servant. Her mouth opens, then closes. For perhaps the first time in my adult life, my mother has no ready response. The holiday decorations surrounding us, twinkling lights and paper snowflakes, cast strange shadows across her face. Outside the cafe window, shoppers hurry past with bags of presents, their faces alight with anticipation rather than obligation. I pull out my phone and slide it across the table, displaying the confirmation email. I'm spending Christmas in Key West, I say, with friends who see me as more than what I can provide for them. Mother stares at the screen, her face draining of color as reality sinks in. Her fingers clutch her untouched coffee mug so tightly her knuckles whiten. You've already booked it? The question comes out hollow, disbelieving. Jessica and I leave Christmas Eve morning. But what about Adrian's dinner? The genuine confusion in her voice speaks volumes. She truly cannot imagine a world where my brother's needs don't automatically supersede mine. Adrian has 2 hands that work perfectly well, I reply, and a kitchen full of appliances with instruction manuals. She looks at me as if I've suggested he perform brain surgery. He doesn't know how to cook a turkey. YouTube exists, I say simply. I learned most of my recipes there when no one taught me. The barista calls out another customer's order. Holiday music continues playing. Life goes on around us while my mother processes that her reliable kitchen servant has resigned without notice. When our bill arrives, I take it before she can reach for her purse. This one's on me, I say, placing my credit card on the small tray. No strings attached. It's a small gesture, but the symbolism isn't lost on either of us. For decades, every gift, every favor from my parents came with invisible strings, expectations of service, compliance, and gratitude for their conditional love. Mother gathers her photo album, her movements stiff and uncertain. As we stand to leave, I touch her arm gently. When you're ready to have a daughter instead of a servant, I'll be here. I say, I've always been here. You just need to see me. She doesn't respond, just nods once before walking out into the December afternoon. I watch through the window as she sits in her car for several minutes, not starting the engine, just staring straight ahead. That evening, Jessica helps me pack for our trip while sharing office gossip to lighten the mood. My phone buzzes with texts from Aunt Rachel, who reports that family channels are buzzing with news of my Christmas betrayal. Apparently, Adrian asked if the turkey comes with instructions written on it. She writes with a laughing emoji. Your mother told him to order catering, but your father insists on a home-cooked meal. I feel a strange lightness knowing my absence has created such a disruption. Not from spite, but from the realization that my contributions were substantial enough to leave a gap when withdrawn. The family group chat has been noticeably silent. No guilt trips, no angry messages, just the digital equivalent of stunned silence. As Jessica and I toast to our upcoming beach Christmas with glasses of wine, my phone lights up with a text. It's from my father, the first direct message he's sent me in years without my mother as intermediary. We need to talk, it reads. I set the phone down without responding, feeling neither triumph nor regret, just the quiet certainty that whatever happens next, I won't be returning to the kitchen while others enjoy the feast I've prepared. During Christmas time, the Key West sun warms my face as I stretch out on a beach towel beside Jessica. Laughter bubbles from my chest when our friend Theo performs an exaggerated impression of his boss. For once, I'm not bustling around serving others, I'm simply present, soaking in the moment. Marin, get in this. Jessica waves her phone, framing a photo of our impromptu holiday gathering. I slide between Theo and Jessica, smiling without reservation. The camera clicks, capturing my relaxed posture and genuine smile. 3 days in Key West, and I haven't once apologized for taking up space. Your pick for dinner tonight, Theo says, passing me the local restaurant guide. The simple act of choosing without calculating everyone else's preferences first still feels revolutionary. The seafood place on Duval. I decide without hesitation. Jessica raises her plastic cup, to Marin, who showed us all how to create holidays worth celebrating. 11 months later, on Thanksgiving Day, the aroma of rosemary and garlic fills my Orlando condo as I slide the turkey back into the oven. The timer reads 40 minutes, remaining plenty of time to join my guests. Need any help? Jessica asks from the doorway. Actually, I'm good. The words come easily now. Theo's handling the potatoes. Rachel brought dessert. Everything's under control. When I enter my living room, Aunt Rachel pats the sofa beside her. This beats Adrian's stuffy dining room, she whispers, squeezing my hand. My Thanksgiving table looks nothing like my mother's perfectly coordinated settings. Mismatched plates surround a centerpiece of driftwood and shells from Key West. Theo stands at the counter, sleeves rolled up, mashing potatoes, while deep in conversation with Rachel's daughter, Emily. Wine? I offer Rachel, pouring myself a glass without waiting for permission. Your father called me yesterday, Rachel says quietly. Asked if you were hosting Thanksgiving. The mention of my father doesn't trigger the familiar knot in my stomach. How are they doing? Managing. Your mother overcooks everything. Rachel smiles. Adrian burned the stuffing last year. We laugh, and the sound holds no bitterness. When we gather around my table, I take my seat, not rushing to serve or check if anyone needs anything before I begin. We pass dishes family style, each person contributing something to the meal. I taste everything, savoring flavors instead of worrying about others' reactions. Rachel raises her glass. To traditions that nourish rather than drain us. To chosen family, Jessica adds. 2 weeks later, my phone lights up with my father's number. I answer with steady hands. Marin. His voice sounds older. Your mother and I were wondering if we could visit for Christmas. I stand before the wall where I've hung the photo from our Thanksgiving dinner, 5 smiling faces, mine centered and glowing. I'd like that. I say, but things would be different. We'd cook together, not just me, and I've planned a friends gathering on Christmas Eve that wouldn't change. The silence stretches between us. Then, I think we can manage that. As I consider my father's request, I wonder if some relationships can be rebuilt on new terms, or if some patterns are too deeply ingrained to change. What would you do? Try to redefine the relationship, or maintain the healthy distance you've created? I hang up the photo, adjusting it until it sits perfectly level. Whatever happens with my parents, I've found my footing. This is my life now chosen, not assigned.
The Columbus skyline glitters beyond the rooftop restaurant's windows, each light a tiny star in my personal universe of disappointment. My heels click against the polished hardwood as I follow the hostess, the weight of the aged Cabernet steady in my hands. The card I spent hours crafting nestles in my purse, its edges crisp and perfect, unlike the mess my heart has become. Right this way, Miss Henderson. The hostess's voice carries the practiced warmth of upscale service. She guides me toward the private dining room I selected 3 months ago, when hope still colored my world in softer shades. I smooth my dress, a careful selection that cost more than I usually spend. The fabric whispers against my skin as I move, a quiet reminder of all the times I've dressed up for family occasions, seeking approval that never quite materializes. The private room opens before us like a stage set for a play I've performed too many times. Crystal glasses catch the light from artisan fixtures I chose myself. The table settings gleam, each plate precisely positioned on the crisp white cloth. 20 pairs of eyes turn toward me as I enter. Logan's gaze meets mine, cold as February frost. My brother raises his hand, and my steps falter. This table's for family only, sis. The wine bottle grows heavier in my grasp. Blood rushes to my face as he gestures toward a metal folding chair near the exit, set apart from the celebration like a dunce seat in grade school. Silence spreads across the room like spilled wine. Mother's lips twist into her nervous smile, the one that appears whenever she's choosing Logan's side. Father chuckles, the sound hitting me like small stones. Bailey, Logan's fiancée, glances between us. Confusion flickers across her features, but she says nothing. Her silence speaks volumes about the stories Logan must have told her. My fingers tighten around the bottle's neck, until my knuckles match the tablecloth. The room tilts slightly, and memories flash through my mind like an old slideshow. Covering Logan's rent when he couldn't make payments, co-signing his car loan. Paying for the trade school program he never finished. The engagement gift in my purse suddenly weighs 1,000 pounds. A vintage watch I found at that little shop in German Village, the kind Logan always admired but never saved up to buy. The irony tastes bitter in my mouth. Without a word, I cross to the folding chair. The metal creaks as I sit, a discordant note in the symphony of fine dining. The wine bottle finds a home beside my purse on the floor, its deep red contents unlikely to ever grace their glasses. Mother's gaze skitters away when I meet it. I hold my spine straight, refusing to slouch despite the chair's awkward angle. The conversation around the table resumes, voices too loud, laughter too bright. Logan commands the room like a conductor, his hands gesturing as he tells another story about his latest business venture. Mother and father lean forward, entranced as always by their golden child. Bailey's parents nod appreciatively at his description of the generous venue he selected for their daughter. The venue I researched for weeks after Bailey mentioned loving it during our only coffee meeting. The venue whose $900 deposit sits on my credit card, along with the carefully planned menu and wine selection. Waiters glide past my corner, serving course after course. The aroma of truffle risotto wafts through the air, but no plate appears before me. I sit unacknowledged, a ghost at my own party, for 90 minutes that stretch like years. The dinner winds down as coffee and dessert plates are cleared. My legs have gone numb from the folding chair's unforgiving metal, but I haven't shifted once. The waiter approaches with a leather folder, hesitating as his eyes move between the main table and my corner. "Miss Henderson?" His voice carries a note of uncertainty. "We have your card on file for the deposit." I rise slowly, feeling the weight of 20 gazes once again. The leather folder contains a bill for $4,130 more than I make in a month at my nonprofit job. Logan's smirk appears, familiar as an old scar, confident in the knowledge that his responsible big sister will handle it, just like always. Mother half rises, her smile hopeful. "Megan, honey, you can just put it on your card. We'll sort it out later." The words hit me like a physical blow. "We'll sort it out later." The same promise I've heard for 20 years, through college loans and medical bills and every financial crisis that wasn't quite urgent enough for anyone but me to solve. I look at the leather folder, then at the family that decided I wasn't good enough to sit at their table. My hand doesn't shake as I reach for my purse, and for the first time in my life, I'm not sure what I'm going to do next. The choice stretches before me like a forked road, the familiar path of least resistance, or the terrifying unknown of finally saying no. The leather folder trembles in the waiter's hands. His eyes dart between my metal folding chair and the main table, uncertainty etched across his features. "Miss Henderson, we have your card on file for the deposit." I rise from the folding chair, my legs stiff from 90 minutes of sitting on unforgiving metal. The room falls silent as I straighten my dress. 20 pairs of eyes track my movement, including Logan's. His lips curl into that familiar smirk, the same one he wore when he told our parents I'd volunteered to co-sign his car loan. Mother half rises from her chair, wine sloshing in her glass. "Megan, honey, you can just put it on your card. We'll sort it out later." Later. The word lands like a slap. 20 years of later stack up behind my eyes. College loans, medical bills, every crisis that wasn't quite urgent enough for anyone but me to solve. The leather folder contains a bill for $4,130. More than I make in a month at my nonprofit job. My fingers brush against the vintage watch in my purse, the one I'd carefully selected for Logan. The perfect engagement gift, now a perfect joke. I was told this wasn't the family table. My voice carries across the silence, steady and clear. I won't be paying for a party I wasn't invited to be part of. Bailey's father pushes back his chair. "Wait." His face reddens as he looks between Logan and me. "Megan paid for this venue?" Logan's smirk vanishes. "She just put down the deposit. I was going to pay her back." A laugh bubbles up in my throat, sharp and unfamiliar. "I selected this restaurant because Bailey mentioned loving it during our coffee date. I paid the $900 deposit. I arranged the menu tasting. I selected the wine pairings." Bailey's hands fly to her mouth. The confusion in her eyes shifts to something harder as she stares at Logan. "You told me you arranged everything. You said it was a gift to my parents." My brother's face drains of color. The room spins slightly as 2 decades of swallowed truths rise in my throat. "I selected this venue 3 months ago, made sure they could accommodate Bailey's mother's dietary restrictions. Chose these light fixtures because Bailey loves artisan glass." My voice doesn't shake, but apparently I'm not family enough to sit at the table. The silence spreads like spilled wine across white linen. Father's fork hangs suspended between his plate and mouth. Mother's nervous smile has vanished. I collect my purse and the unopened bottle of Cabernet. My heels click against hardwood as I walk toward the exit, head high. The sound echoes through the private dining room like a metronome counting down the seconds. The door closes behind me with a soft click. Through the heavy wood, I hear the explosion of voices. Bailey's father's deep baritone rises above the chaos. "You lied to my daughter?" My phone buzzes before I reach the elevator. Logan's name flashes across the screen. "How could you embarrass me like that?" Another buzz. "You've ruined everything!" A third. "This is why we don't include you." The elevator doors slide open. Inside, my phone chirps with a voicemail notification. Father's voice fills my ear. "Your mother is crying. I hope you're happy." I step out into the cool October air just as Bailey's name appears on my screen. My thumb hovers over decline before I answer. "Megan?" Her voice trembles. "I need to know something. Did you really refuse to help with the wedding planning? Logan said you wouldn't return my calls." My laugh sounds hollow in the empty street. "I have the email thread where I sent him venue options, the screenshots of texts asking when you were free to meet, the receipt for the deposit. He told everyone he paid for the venue himself. Said it was his gift to my parents since they're covering the flowers." Bailey's voice cracks. "What else has he lied about? Would you like the spreadsheet of money he's borrowed since college, or just the past year?" Silence stretches between us. Then, "I can't marry someone who treats family this way." My heart twists, unexpected sympathy blooming for this woman I barely know. "Bailey." "No." Steele enters her voice. "My father's pulling his venue deposit for the wedding. All $5,500 of it. Logan can explain to everyone why." The line goes dead. My phone lights up with a text from Mother. "Logan needs you. Don't abandon your brother now." I open my banking app, finger hovering over a specific account. The joint savings account I'd opened with Logan years ago, back when I still believed temporary help meant temporary. The remaining $1,800 glows on the screen, most of it deposited from my paychecks. The account name blinks at me. Family Emergency Fund. My thumb trembles over the close account button. The same choice stretches before me that's haunted every family crisis. Walk away from family forever, or try one more time to make them see. Behind me, the restaurant's glass doors swing open. Logan's voice carries across the parking lot. "Megan, don't you dare leave that bill." I press close account before he finishes the sentence. I went home. That same night, the bank notification lights up my phone screen at 3 a.m. Logan tried accessing our joint account again. My thumb hovers over the close account button as I sit cross-legged on my bed, surrounded by the ghosts of family photos watching me from their careful arrangements on my walls. Each frame contains a moment I paid for. The beach vacation where Logan forgot his wallet. The graduation party I catered when Mom said the budget was tight. Dad's retirement dinner where I covered the difference between what they planned and what they wanted. The close account screen glows accusingly. $1,800 sits in the balance, most of it mine. My finger trembles above the button until another notification breaks my hesitation. Attempted withdrawal, $1,000, insufficient funds. My thumb presses down. The confirmation appears instantly. "Are you sure you want to close this account?" The transfer completes with a soft chime. Relief floods through me until someone pounds on my apartment door, the sound echoing through the pre-dawn quiet. The next morning at 7 a.m., "Megan, open up." Logan's voice carries through the thin walls. "I know you're in there." My heart pounds, but my hands stay steady as I walk to the door. The security chain rattles as I slide it into place before turning the lock. Logan's face appears in the gap, red and twisted. "You've destroyed everything. You made that choice at the restaurant." My voice remains level, though my stomach churns. Bailey's having doubts. Her father is furious about the venue deposit. His words tumble out, desperate. "You need to call them and fix this. Tell them it was a misunderstanding." The old urge to solve his problems rises up, familiar as a reflex. But the memory of folding chairs stops me cold. "No." The single word hangs between us. Logan's mouth opens, then closes. For the first time in my life, I see genuine shock replace his usual arrogance. "What do you mean, no?" His voice cracks. I'm your brother. You said I wasn't family. The truth feels clean on my tongue. Well, family doesn't get to use my money. He slams his palm against the doorframe. After everything I've done for you. Everything you've done? A laugh bubbles up, sharp and unfamiliar. Let me get my spreadsheet. My phone buzzes in my pocket. Mother's name appears on the screen, her third call this morning. The voicemail notification blinks. After all we've done for you. I silence the ringer as Logan's voice rises. Bailey's father pulled his venue deposit. $5,000, Megan. $5,000. Sounds like a problem for the person who claimed they paid for everything. The words come easier now, each one a brick in the wall I'm finally building. You selfish? He catches himself, forces a smile that doesn't reach his eyes. Come on, sis, we can work this out. I'll pay you back this time, I promise. The same words he's used since we were kids. The same smile that convinced me to co-sign his car loan, to cover his trade school tuition, to open that joint account just until he got on his feet. No, the word tastes different this time, stronger. I'm done. Done? His laugh holds an edge of panic. You can't be done. We're family. Family sits at the same table. The words hit him like a physical blow. He steps back, mouth working silently before his face hardens into something ugly and familiar. This is why you'll always be alone, he spits. This is why Mark left you. The old wound throbs me ex-fiancé who couldn't understand why family always came first, but the pain feels distant now, like pressing on a bruise that's finally healing. Goodbye, Logan. I close the door on his protests. My phone lights up with a text from Bailey. Can we talk? I need to understand what happened. As I type a response, another message appears from her mother. Thank you for showing us the truth about him. Later that morning, around 10 at my work, my coworker Sarah's name pops up next. Brought you a coffee. It's on your desk. No need to explain family stuff to me. The support wraps around me like a warm blanket, so different from the cold obligation I'm used to. My finger hovers over the block contact option under Logan's name, but I'm not ready for that. Instead, I open my calendar and delete the recurring reminder to check his credit card payments. A weight lifts from my shoulders as I scroll through years of financial band-aids I've applied to my family's wounds. The car insurance I've paid since Dad retired. The temporary help with Mom's medical bills that became permanent. The endless small emergencies that always seem to land in my lap. My laptop opens to a blank spreadsheet. The cursor blinks as I type a new header. My money, my choice. The columns fill with numbers that tell a story of one-way generosity, of love measured in dollars and cents. I book a flight to Maine with money that was earmarked for Logan's next inevitable crisis. The confirmation email feels like permission to breathe. My phone rings again. Mother's number, but with an unfamiliar tremor in her voice when I answer. Megan, can we talk? I think of the folding chair, of decades of being the responsible one, of love that came with conditions and price tags. On my terms, I say, not Logan's. The silence stretches between us, heavy with the weight of changing tides. In the quiet, I hear the echo of that metal chair scraping across hardwood, but this time, the sound doesn't make me flinch. Your terms, she whispers, and for the first time, I hear fear in her voice. Fear of losing the daughter they never had to earn. I end the call without promising anything. The morning sun creeps through my window, painting the walls in shades of possibility. I look at the family photos again, seeing them with new eyes. Each one a receipt for love I thought I had to buy. One by one, I take them down. 3 months later at my home, the knock startles me from a documentary about penguins. 3 quick raps, polite but insistent. Through the peephole, my mother stands in the harsh hallway fluorescence, clutching a glass casserole dish like a shield. Her cardigan hangs loose where it used to pull tight across her shoulders. She looks smaller somehow, less certain than I've ever seen her. My hand hovers over the deadbolt. Part of me wants to pretend I'm not home, to sink back into my quiet evening of nature shows and chamomile tea. But her eyes keep darting to the side, the way they always have when she's working up the courage to say something real. I open the door. I brought your favorite. She lifts the dish. That corn casserole with the cornflakes on top. The one from Aunt Susan's recipe box. Words stick in my throat. The last time she brought me comfort food was after my high school boyfriend dumped me at junior prom. Now here she stands, offering crushed cornflakes and cream of corn as if they could patch the crater between us. I step aside, letting her in. She places the casserole on my counter with trembling hands, beside the coffee maker I splurged on last month when I realized I no longer needed to keep an emergency fund for Logan's next crisis. The silence stretches between us like cold taffy. Would you like some tea? I ask, more to fill the quiet than anything else. No, thank you. She perches on the edge of my couch, hands folded in her lap. I've never seen you stand up to us like that before. The words hit me in the solar plexus, not, I'm sorry we hurt you, or, you didn't deserve that treatment. Just surprised observation that her doormat daughter finally grew a spine. I sink into my reading chair, letting the familiar leather catch me. Did Logan send you? No. She looks down at her hands, twisting her wedding ring. He doesn't know I'm here. Your father thinks I'm at Bible study. Another first. In 33 years, I've never known her to lie to him. We were wrong. Her voice cracks. We let Logan treat you like less than family, your father and I. She swallows hard. We enabled him all these years. Tears fill her eyes, not the manipulative ones I've seen so often when she wanted me to cave on something. These carve genuine tracks through her careful makeup. Bailey broke the engagement. She says it like a confession. Permanently. She came by the house yesterday to return some things Logan had left at her apartment. Said she couldn't marry someone who'd treat their sister that way. Called it a preview of how he'd treat her someday. The revelation settles in my stomach like a stone. Not satisfaction exactly. Not quite regret either. Logan moved back home, she continues. He's struggling. Can't find work. Your father won't discuss what happened at the dinner. The whole thing has become this black hole we tiptoe around. She picks at a loose thread on her cardigan. Bailey's parents called everyone who'd RSVP'd yes to the wedding. Told them exactly why it was canceled. Your Aunt Margaret asked if what they said about the restaurant was true, that you'd paid for everything. I stay silent, letting her fill the space between us. For once, she does. The thing is, Megan, she smooths her slacks, a nervous habit from her teaching days. We need your help. Logan needs direction, maybe some career guidance. You've always been so good with money, with planning. A familiar weight settles on my shoulders, the reflexive urge to fix, to help, to smooth things over. But something new rises alongside it. The memory of that folding chair's cold metal against my back. I'll give advice, I say carefully. But no money. Not anymore. She nods, acceptance replacing the usual flash of disappointment. That's fair. More than fair, really. My phone buzzes on the coffee table. Logan's name lights up the screen, followed by a wall of text. Mom glances at it, then back at me. He had a lawyer friend help draft an apology letter, she admits. Spent 3 hours getting the wording just right. Your father called too, didn't he? Asked you to put this nonsense behind us? I nod. She lets out a tired laugh. Logan told him to make that call. He thinks you'll cave if Dad pressures you enough. You always have before. The words should sting, but instead they settle like the final piece of a puzzle I've been assembling my whole life. Not this time. No, she agrees softly. Not this time. We sit in silence for a moment, the hum of my refrigerator filling the space between us. On television, the penguin parents take turns protecting their egg from the Antarctic wind. Your father and I. She pauses, choosing her words carefully. We're having Thanksgiving at the house next month, just family. I'd like you to come. The invitation lands between us like a live wire. 3 months ago, I would have already been planning the menu, calculating costs, wondering how to cover Logan's share without anyone noticing. I'll think about it, I say. She stands, smoothing her cardigan one last time. That's all I can ask. At the door, she turns back. The casserole. Heat it at 350 for 20 minutes. The cornflakes stay crispier that way. After she leaves, I sit in my quiet apartment, listening to David Attenborough explain how penguin colonies survive the harshest winters by huddling together, taking turns moving from the warmth of the center to the punishing wind of the outer circle. My phone buzzes again. Another message from Logan. I look at the casserole on my counter, my mother's peace offering waiting to be warmed and eaten. The thought of returning to their table twists in my gut. The same table that excluded me now offered as a path to reconciliation. My therapist's words from our last session echo in my mind. You can redefine these relationships on your terms. The question is, do you want to? The Penguin documentary ends. In the darkness of my screen, my reflection stares back at me, wondering if I'm ready to return to the table that once excluded me, now that they're asking me back. The cranberry sauce catches the last rays of November sunlight as I place it on my parents' doorstep. My finger hovers over the doorbell, and the memory of a rooftop restaurant's folding chair presses against my spine. 3 months since I walked away from that bill. 3 months of screening calls and deleting texts. My mother opens the door before I can retreat. You came. Her voice wavers between relief and uncertainty. The walls of the entryway still display the same faded school portraits. Logan's winning smile front and center, my serious face relegated to the shadows. Just for dinner. I step inside, clutching my purse like armor. The house smells of sage and butter, mixed with the sharp tang of anxiety that always accompanies family gatherings. Logan sprawls in Dad's leather recliner, his phone a barrier between us. The empty trade school brochures on the coffee table tell their own story of his latest abandoned plan. He doesn't look up. Dad's stiff nod from the kitchen doorway sets the tone. No hug, no smile. Just judgment wrapped in cologne and a pressed flannel shirt. Traffic must have been bad. We were about to start without you. I left work early. The words snap out before I can soften them. I'm 7 minutes early, actually. Mom flutters between us, hands twisting her apron. Logan was just telling us about a new business opportunity. Something in sales, right, honey? Logan finally glances up, eyes calculating. Yeah. Hey, sis. Speaking of work, you're still at that nonprofit place, right? Dating anyone there? The familiar pivot lands like a punch. Every conversation steered toward what I can. Provide money, connections, solutions to problems they create. Dad clears his throat. You know, Megan, Logan could use some help with his resume. Professional polish, you know. I watch Mom's eyes dart between us, measuring the tension like cups of flour in her recipes. The old pattern unfolds. Logan needs help. Megan provides, balance restored. Except nothing balances anymore. Dinner's ready. Mom's announcement splits the air. Paul, would you say grace? The dining room table stretches before us, heavy with tradition and unspoken resentments. My usual spot waits the folding chair with the crooked leg, positioned slightly apart from the matching set. 4 decades of muscle memory guide me toward it. Dad's grace drones on about family bonds and gratitude. My fingers trace the metal edge of the seat, cool and unyielding. Like the family rules, Megan gives, Logan takes. Parents enable, repeat until broken. The final amen falls into silence. They wait, knives and forks poised, for normalcy to resume, for me to fold myself small enough to fit their narrative. I stand. The scrape of the folding chair against hardwood splinters the quiet. 3 steps carry me to the cherrywood chair beside Mom Logan's usual throne. I'm not sitting in the folding chair anymore. Dad's fork freezes halfway to his mouth. Logan's face darkens like a storm rolling across Ohio farmland, but I'm not finished. I'll be part of this family as an equal, not a resource. The words flow smooth and clear, practiced in therapy sessions and morning mirror pep talks. No more emergency loans. No more last-minute favors. No more pretending the folding chair is good enough. That's not how family works. Dad's voice carries the weight of decades of unquestioned authority. You've always thought you're better than us. Logan pushes back from the table. Coming in here with your fancy job and your... She's right. Mom's quiet words slice through his tirade. Her hand settles on the tablecloth, fingers spread like she's bracing for impact. We've taken advantage, Paul. All these years, we've taken advantage. The silence swells. Steam rises from the turkey, untouched and cooling. Dad studies his plate like it holds answers to questions he never thought to ask. His jaw works, pride wrestling with truth. Finally, a single nod. Not quite an apology, but the closest he's ever come. Logan shoves his chair back hard enough to rattle the china. The front door slams behind him, vibrating through the walls of the house. Through the window, I watch him pace the driveway, phone pressed to his ear, probably calling someone else to bail him out. Mom's hand finds mine across the table. Her fingers tremble, but her grip holds firm. Would you pass the potatoes, honey? The bowl travels from her hands to mine, then to Dad's. He serves himself, then offers it back to me first, a small gesture that speaks volumes. We eat in a silence that feels different from the tense quiet of past gatherings. This one holds possibility. Later, driving home through streets decorated for Christmas, I count the cost of truth. One brother's rejection, one father's grudging respect, one mother's tentative steps toward change. The math doesn't quite balance, but maybe it doesn't have to. The folding chair still stands in the corner of their dining room, but I won't be sitting in it again. I check the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the old Megan trailing behind the one who would have paid that restaurant bill, who would have helped with Logan's resume, who would have squeezed herself into any space they left her. She's gone. The question settles in my chest as I turn onto the highway. Is a partially healed family relationship better than none at all? The answer whispers beneath my wheels on the asphalt. It depends on who's doing the healing and who's willing to change. My apartment welcomes me with stillness and the soft glow of the lamp I left on. No folding chairs in sight. Just the solid oak table I bought myself, surrounded by 4 matching chairs, waiting for the day I'm ready to fill them with people who see me as I am, not just what I can give. For now, one chair, one choice, one boundary at a time is enough. A year later, the evening sun slants through my dining room windows, casting long shadows across the oak table I spent 3 months saving for. No metal folding chairs mar the landscape of my dinner party, just 8 matching seats, their cushions soft against the backs of people I've chosen to surround myself with. Sarah from the community center raises her wine glass, the light catching the crystal. To boundaries, she announces, and laughter ripples around the table. My mother, standing in the kitchen doorway with a serving dish of roasted vegetables, joins the toast with her water glass. To boundaries, we echo, and warmth spreads through my chest that has nothing to do with the wine. A framed photo on the wall catches my eye, me standing on a rocky Maine beach last summer, arms spread wide, first vacation I'd taken just for myself. Next to it hangs my therapy completion certificate, and beside that, the announcement of my promotion to senior financial manager. No forced family gatherings crowd my calendar these days. Its pages filled instead with coffee dates, community center workshops, and the occasional quiet evening with Mom. Megan, these potatoes are incredible, Marcus from work says, reaching for seconds. What's your secret? Rosemary from my balcony garden. I pass him the serving bowl. Though Mom added her own touch to them tonight. Mother's cheeks flush with pleasure. She's different now, softer around the edges, less anxious. Our weekly cooking sessions have built something new between us, brick by careful brick. Even Dad joins us sometimes, though he's still learning how to relate to me as a person rather than a resource. Logan's absence hangs in the air like a familiar ghost, but it no longer haunts me. He made his choice when he refused to acknowledge his part in years of financial manipulation. The peace I've made with his absence feels like setting down a heavy suitcase I'd carried too long. The mail slot clicks, and Martha, my elderly neighbor, appears in the entryway waving an envelope. Special delivery came late today, dear. Thought you might want it. The cream-colored envelope bears Bailey's return address. Inside, an elegant wedding invitation nestles against a handwritten note. You showed me what real integrity looks like. I'd be honored if you'd attend. My hand doesn't shake as I check the attending box. No +1 needed. The thought of seeing Logan there doesn't send anxiety spiraling through my stomach anymore. I've earned this steadiness. Speaking of integrity, Sarah pipes up. You should hear what Megan said to my intern yesterday. Poor thing was in tears about her brother demanding she drain her savings for his startup. I fold the RSVP card carefully. I just told her what I wish someone had told me at her age. Your worth isn't measured by what you provide. That workshop you started at the center? Marcus takes a sip of wine. My sister signed up for the next session, said she's tired of being the family ATM. Mother sets down her fork, and I recognize the small notepad she pulls from her pocket, the one she brings to every boundary-setting workshop she attends. Her dedication to understanding, to doing better, fills my throat with unexpected emotion. The conversation flows like wine, warm and easy. These people around my table know who I am beyond what I can give them. No one here would dare suggest I take a metal folding chair while they enjoy cushioned comfort. Later, after the last guest leaves with a container of leftovers, I stand in my kitchen. The dishwasher hums quietly, and moonlight spills across my table where everyone sat as equals. Mother's parting words echo in my mind. I'm proud of who you've become. A smile tugs at my lips as I realize her words. while lovely, no longer determine my worth. I've built my own table, and I decide who sits at it.